Time for Entre Nous, and on the show today we are speaking to best-selling author Gretchen Rubin. Her latest book, Secrets of Adulthood, came out this year. Rubin's previous work includes the Happiness Project. She also hosts the Happier with Gretchen podcast. Thank you for joining us on the program today. This book is written in a very different style from your previous work. Was there a reason you decided to use aphorisms for The Secret of Adulthood?
Well, I think with time and experience, we all learn lessons as we go through life. And usually we learn these lessons the hard way. And I wanted to collect the secrets of adulthood that I had learned to give both to my daughters, but also to remind myself of everything that I'd learned. It feels like often we have to learn the same lessons over and over. And so I really pushed myself to distill these lessons into single sentences, and then I collected them in the Secrets of Adulthood.
It was funny because when I was reading the book, I oscillated between this is so funny to oh my God, she's right. Was it difficult for you to strike the right balance and how to make something insightful but also witty as well?
Well, you're right. That's one of the creative challenges that made it so fun for me as a writer, was really to try to distill very large ideas into a single sentence and try to use as much as I could paradox or surprise to convey the lesson that I'd learned. We all know that the saying, I'm sorry I wrote you such a long letter. I didn't have time to write a short one. It's very hard to write short. And so, yeah, that was one of the things that made it an interesting creative challenge.
At what point, according to you, does one become an adult? Because I feel for me, in my experience, when I was much younger, I would be more, I'd take more risks. I'd pack up suitcases, move countries, start new jobs. But now, the older I am, you sort of calm down a bit, you think a bit more, you're more risk averse.
Well, and I think at the same time, I think you're absolutely right. And at the same time, I feel like when you're younger, you're perhaps more confident in your own wisdom. And as you get older, you're more like, I'm not sure I know. I think in a way, we only really have the experience of adults when we ourselves are children. And once we become an adult, so many people say to me, the thing is, I don't really feel like a grown-up. And I feel that way myself. I wrote these lessons of adulthood, but in a way, I feel like I'm still learning them and learning them. Perhaps I will never feel like a true adult.
That's true. It's good to always feel young at heart, isn't it? I want to ask, why does an almond taste better when we eat just one?
Well, okay, that's one of my favorite aphorisms, but just try it. It's funny, like if you eat something by the handful, you're not really paying attention. And I don't know, you could finish a whole bag before you notice it. But if you eat just one almond and you really pay attention, it will taste so good. And so it's one of those things where it's just a reminder to slow down and really appreciate the little experiences of life rather than rushing through an experience and like not even really registering it.
Did anyone influence you from your life, maybe growing up, conversations you've had, friends, your inner circle, family? Because it seems like you must have heard or thought of these things.
I've been collecting these since I was very, very young. I have my favorite aphorists. Many of the best aphorists are French, of course. And then as I go through life, and anybody says anything wise, I'll write it down. Like my sister, who is a television writer in Hollywood, she's constantly sort of saying these secrets of adulthood. Like she says, no one has an opinion until someone else has an opinion, or people succeed in groups. So I would write these down. My father often says very wise things like enjoy the process, meaning take time to enjoy the process instead of being very, very focused on outcomes. And so I've been collecting these, but I think because I love them so much in other people, it really got me to start writing them myself. So things like, something that can be done at any time is often done at no time.
Yeah.
Or working is one of the most dangerous forms of procrastination. Or we care for many people we don't particularly care for. These are ideas that I would play with for a long time. And then over time, I would really try to crystallize them into a single line.
And I also like the way you broke it up into work, procrastination, or whatever. But you also spoke about bad habits. And why is it difficult to give up certain bad habits the older we get?
Habits are the invisible architecture of everyday life. About 40% of our daily lives are shaped by our habits. And as we all know, if we have habits that work for us, it's much easier to be happier, healthier, more productive, and more creative. But the problem with bad habits is that they can lock in very quickly and they can be very hard to change. One of the best times to change a bad habit is when we have a big transition, when we get a new job, when we have a new relationship, and particularly when we move. Moving is one of the best times to change habits. And as you pointed out earlier, when we're younger, we're moving more. We tend to we go from relationship to relationship. We might be going from career to career. There are a lot of transitions, and that means there's a lot of fresh starts. That gives us a chance to okay, now I'm going to start going to the gym. Now I'm going to eat
Mm.
healthier. Now I'm going to go to bed on time. Now I'm going to read more novels. And as we get older, we don't have those transitions that can make it easier to displace a bad habit. So I think that might be one reason that people find it harder as we get older.
Why do you think it's harder as well for people who get older to make new friends, as more people are more discreet and happy with their circles they have?
Well, yes, loneliness is a huge problem. And when you look at who is happy in life, one of the main factors is how many strong relationships they have. And what research shows is that we tend to have our biggest social circle when we're in our 20s, and it just gradually gets smaller and smaller. Now, part of this is because of circumstances. Once we're kind of like adults, even if we don't feel like an adult, we have a job, we have a family, and that takes a huge amount of our time and energy. And then through time, we lose people. So one of the things that's very important to do is to really try to strengthen, maintain, and then create new relationships. One of my secrets of adulthood is if you're trying to figure out how to spend your precious time, energy, or money, spend it on relationships. Because we really do have to fight this trend, as you point out, which is as we get older, our circles tend to grow smaller. So it's really important to work against that and really strive to add new people to our social circles, as well as maintain. Sometimes we let relationships go.
Hmm.
Like there's that neighbor that we don't live next to anymore, even though we were really good friends, or that coworker, but now we have a new job. We might need to use extra effort to keep that relationship going. At one time, it was just easy. The person was right there. Now we have to kind of work to keep it, but that's very, very valuable to do.
I think what's amazing about your work is it speaks to everyone, no matter where in the world they are. If you can give our audience 3 tips for adulthood, what would they be?
Well, one is what I said, build relationships. If ancient philosophers and contemporary scientists agree, that is kind of the secret to happiness, to build relationships. Another one is think about your body. Our physical experience always colors our emotional experience. So get enough sleep, get some exercise, go out in the sunlight. That's really important. And the other thing is know yourself. Don't try to jam yourself into somebody else's model. If you're a night person, don't try to be a morning person. If you love abundance, don't try to cultivate simplicity. Really think about what's true for you. It's much easier to build the life that we want when we take ourselves into account. We want to accept ourselves and expect more from ourselves, and that starts with self-knowledge.
Gretchen Rubin, thank you so much for joining us on the program today. Appreciate your insights.
Thank you very much.
And don't forget, you can watch previous editions of Entre Nous on our website, france24.com.